Hey, what's up? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Neological podcast.
Did you
I
forget
forgot
our name?
what this
Wow,
was.
thanks.
Today's episode is brought to you by Shopify. Thank you, Shopify, for sponsoring this podcast that I know the name of.
Yay.
More on that later. Today, we're looking at popular posts on the
Unpopular.
subreddit for unpopular opinions, where people give opinions they think that are unpopular, and sometimes they're bad opinions, and sometimes there are people who just want validation of their opinion. Mm-hmm. Spooky edition.
Yes, this is the Halloween podcast. Today is Halloween. You're watching this on
It is.
Taco Tuesday. Halloween
Where's your
edition.
costume, Christine?
This is my costume.
Wait, are you Simply Neological? Are you dressed up as Simply
No,
Neological?
I'm a cat. Duh.
Same thing.
I'm a cat with a cat. Literally, look at this. I got my orange boy Zyler on me. I'm also wearing him on my shirt, and on my head.
Okay, let's just get right into it. Hospitals shouldn't put up Halloween
What a
decorations.
lovely, just joyful note to begin on.
I don't want to see a bunch of scary stuff and skeletons when when someone I'm visiting or me myself might be dying in there. Imagine if you walk out of the room and you find your wife died and an animated skeleton starts to go, "Mwahaha, happy Halloween." It's in poor taste. I only say this because my local hospital has done it. I went to visit my cousin's baby in the hospital. I went to pee and the halls had orange and purple light, which were fine, I guess, ? Then bam, an ugly ass skeleton looking like death in the middle. I'm all for some color, but holy shit, what poor taste. Christine, how offended are you by this?
Me personally, not at all offended. 0% offended.
Zero offense.
Personally. But I could
Given.
see how a select number of people would interpret being offended. I get it.
You could probably
hear,
say that about anything.
I mean, I hear what they're saying. Yes, technically it's a skeleton
but,
that represents death. I understand.
if you are actually going through something awful in a hospital, I don't think you're thinking about the decorations don't look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But some people might say it's it's rubbing it in or something. It's pointing it out.
What? No.
if
Don't tell me
someone
what
died.
some people would say.
no,
What do
I'm
you
just-
think?
Well, I don't agree at all. I think it's kind of silly.
Okay, let's-
I also think that sometimes people who end up spending a lot of time in the hospital or essentially living in a hospital want to be able to see some decoration.
That's a good
For
point.
holidays, it grounds them in some kind of reality, and their reality's fucked. So I like having that just for the spirit of whatever it is.
So this guy is saying the children in the cancer ward can't
Can't
experience
celebrate.
the joy of Halloween.
Yeah.
That's a much worse
Yeah.
outcome than I might see a skeleton after my grandma died.
Right. Yeah.
Also, you don't even think of Halloween as graphic depictions of death, really, right?
Maybe horror movie Halloween stuff. Yes, if they were playing that on a on a big screen in the hospital, graphic depictions of murder, I might have I might raise that a little bit. I feel like that's different than just skeleton decorations.
Halloween is kids dressing up for candy, college kids going to parties, dressing up as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce this year. You know what I mean? It's not actual reminders and representations of true loss and grief and death to me.
It's just such a literal interpretation. Yes, a skeleton is what happens when a human dies and you put them in the ground. Technically,
Tell
that
me
is
more.
a literal interpretation of what happens. But I don't think that's how we see the symbol skeleton in this day. We just see it as a fun depiction of Halloween for the most part. Or the dead emoji, if you're I'm dead, haha.
If I die, let's say I'm in the ground, I'm dead, and I'm a skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
If I was a ghost, would you want me to hunt you?
I mean, I'm indifferent.
You wouldn't want me around? As a
Well,
ghost?
Do
I
you
love
believe in
that you're
ghosts?
answering this serious.
Why am I answering this
In a
seriously?
world in which ghosts
Yeah,
exist.
then you could make me tea. And it'd be like the Invisible Man just pouring the tea.
That's the first
it's
thing that
just
comes to
spilling
mind.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
I do, pulling back from this more morbid hospital scenario, How do you feel just about Halloween decorations in public places in general? Because I feel like people often have takes on like, I don't want to go to the grocery store and hear like Christmas music, but I don't really hear people complain about like, oh, I walked into my local shop and they had fake cobwebs.
Is
and
Halloween against someone's religion?
I'm sure someone would be offended by it. Sure.
I mean, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But it's not as like, I don't know, some people protest Christmas, I guess.
Who protests Christmas?
People who aren't Christian?
Oh, that's
really know.
oh, but that's
Or
usually
the
like,
inverse.
oh, I don't want like
Yeah.
Christmas or Christianity being like taught in a school. It's not like I don't want to see candy canes in the grocery store, right? Is that what you mean?
I don't know what I mean. But like I understand there's more discussion about which holiday are we representing around the holidays as
that's a
opposed to
fair point.
Halloween where like I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's just not more common discourse you hear about Halloween. Usually everyone's like whatever. Except in some places they don't even celebrate Halloween. Is that not true of Australia? Am I making that up?
Yeah, when I lived there, people didn't really do trick or treating. I think
But they don't
we went
hate
to
it or
the
have anything against it.
I think we had to go to the Canadian embassy and like just
Really?
people from families from
Oh, you had to go
Canada.
to fake Canada in
We
Australia.
went to fake Canada to eat candy.
That's so sad.
It's a little sad.
Why don't they have Halloween?
Oh, they just play cricket and chase kangaroos all day. They don't have
that's
time for
cute.
candy.
Yeah. Anyways. Ugly ass skeleton. Bam.
So bad opinion.
Bad opinion.
All right,
Silly
next one.
opinion.
Candy is not good. And I don't get why everyone likes it so much. Or when I was a kid. Why everyone liked it so much when they are children.
Do we need to explain sugar?
It's addictive. Tastes good. Tricks your brain. I would imagine for teens and adults, candy is not really a factor at all. But when I was little, I remember kids loving candy. And I remember it seeming like kids wanted it all the time. As a kid, I rarely wanted candy. My favorite were Jolly Ranchers, but I never really feigned for them.
I love Jolly Ranchers.
When do you?
Yeah, I that just unlocked a memory. Watermelon.
The memory of liking Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah.
Okay. When Halloween came around, I would get a big bucket of candy, but I would never really finish it. To me, it felt kind of weird that we had a holiday that so deeply involved candy. Candy became more interesting now to me as a teenager. But even so, it seems kind of strange how much people seem to love it. The other day, me and my girlfriend were at the mall and we went into the candy store, and probably almost every time she goes to the mall, she goes there. I got a few things too, but I had been there many times before and not gone there ever. This just keeps going. I don't know if many people feel the same way towards candy. This guy thinks a lot about candy.
candy, okay.
I'm not saying it's good sometimes, but I feel like I've seen people be so into candy, I feel like it's shocking. Overall, candy just isn't that good. Okay, we get the point. I would entertain this though, just in the I think I am less into candy now than I was as a child. That's probably a pretty universal thing, right? As a kid, the idea of candy going when we were kids, I don't know if this is a thing anymore. You'd sometimes like go to a corner store and there'd be like these big buckets of candy.
Like 5-cent candy.
Yeah, and you just like fill up a little paper bag with a scoop.
I did that.
And it was like, 5-cent candy. Like you would count how many you had.
Do like $1's worth.
And you multiply it by, like many nickels. Yeah.
Or that's such like a boomer thing. We're so old.
But that was like a fun thing to
It
do.
was
Go to the
fun.
candy store. But
Kinda
as an
disgusting,
adult, I don't really think about candy.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that when you're children excite you and are a really big deal, and then 10 years later you're like, why no? Like,
But as an adult, I've just learned there's just so many better desserts.
yeah,
I would rather like a really good cookie or a brownie or ice cream. And I'm not saying kids don't like these things too, but as a kid, it was all about candy. And it's like, you stupid kids, there's much better sweets and chocolates out there.
Candy is just a lot simpler than a fancy dessert, and it's also when it's connected to something, an exciting event like Halloween, then it's not just candy, it's the activity. Or like an Easter egg hunt and you're getting candy, like you're going on a chocolate egg hunt. Like no one really likes chocolate eggs, I think. Like
Oh yeah, they're bad.
the bad ones. Anyways. But like a lot of kids remember that or get excited about it because it was associated with like a hunt and that made it fun. So it's the same thing. I think candy got a more hyped up reputation because of Halloween. That's my argument.
So you think there's the childhood nostalgic memories is what makes people think of candy as better than it is.
Or just the experience of like, even as adults, we think about, oh, it's November 1st, let's go get all the discount candy. I know maybe like the main motivator is, oh, well, it's on sale. Yes. But it's also kind of exciting because that's your adult version of the hunt.
Well, it's just adulthood has hit you in the face with like, you have to think about how much things cost. And a good deal is more excited than
But also you
than an
didn't like
Easter egg hunt.
need the candy either, but it's kind of fun for you in a way.
Needs candy. But like maybe also like when you're a certain age, you actually think about your health and it's like, I don't want to eat a box of mini Snickers bars. I'd rather just like a nice little piece of chocolate cake after dinner on a special occasion, you know?
Sure. Yes.
But like, and I guess you can't do like you can do an Easter egg hunt. I can't do a creme brulee hunt.
That'd be really messy.
Or I can't hide.
How would that work if you just had little pots everywhere?
Some gourmet ice cream around the house and see who finds it.
Imagine there was like a neighbor who did that, who gave out like tiramisu on a platter.
Tiramisu.
It's like, here you go, children. Tiramisu.
We could be that house.
No.
It kind of bums me out we can't give out candy. You know?
Yeah.
Because do we need to... Have we talked about this?
Well, like, you could put on a mask and not talk.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I don't accept that risk.
Yeah, we don't want people to know where we live, you know? But that's too bad. It's fun to get... I want to be the cool house.
I never wanted to be
I want to be the house that's giving out
I always
tiramisu.
left my house, like, as a teenager or kid. When
As a kid, yeah, you want to go trick-or-treating.
Well, when I wasn't trick-or-treating.
Christine would be the kid giving out candy instead of going trick-or-treating.
No, I didn't even want to do that. No, like I did go trick-or-treating as a kid, but once I was old enough to not do that, like by the time you're in high school, I was not at my house.
Where were you?
Like parties.
Okay.
Like I was not giving out candy.
That's normal.
Yeah, that's normal, right? And then when I was in university, so I don't recall like ever really giving out candy.
Yeah, that's sad.
We
took all the joy. We didn't give any of it back into the world.
I benefited from the community giving out candy, and I never gave it back.
This is what's wrong with society, you know? These older generations, they just take and take.
It's the millennials.
And then they don't give back to the children.
It's all the millennials' fault. Is Gen Z giving out candy?
I feel like they're still babies, aren't they?
They're not babies.
How old is Gen Z?
That's Gen Alpha. Gen Z's like 22 or something. Some of them.
Some of them are still trick-or-treating.
Okay.
How old can they go trick-or-treating?
Until?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's a specific rule, but I remember being a certain age, like 13 or 14, and thinking, I don't want to go anymore. Like, I want to go to the party.
As soon as you got invited to the party, you stopped going.
Yeah.
Was there candy at the party?
Probably.
Was there creme brulee?
Definitely not.
Well, maybe you made the wrong choice.
Okay.
Halloween should be moved to the last Saturday of October. This year, it's Monday. The school celebrated and the kids aren't allowed to dress up on the actual day. Tomorrow's trick-or-treat day, nothing Sunday, and then trick-or-treating on Monday. It's all too spread out. Just make it the last Saturday of October.
So this year it's Tuesday, because this post is from last year.
It's Taco Tuesday. You should just give out tacos to children.
Exactly. I understand where this person is coming from, because it's inconvenient. So I get it. And there's some holidays that, like, whether it's the government or workplaces, will actually change what day it is just so it makes sense in the calendar. Or like New Year's, for example. If New Year's falls on a random day, like, yes, you get that off, but don't you also get the Monday off after the weekend? Or is that Christmas? I can't remember.
Well, if a statutory holiday falls on a weekend, like,
you get but they always give you the closest day to that weekend.
Why can't a kid go trick-or-treating on a weekday or a weekend?
I mean,
why does it matter what day of the week trick-or-treating is?
I would imagine parents care about that because school. That's just a guess.
Oh, they want their kid to go to school dressed up?
Yeah. Well,
you could just do that.
I mean, they have school the next day, so maybe they don't want their kid.
Well, this person's issue is, kids can't even dress up on the actual day.
Why can't they dress up on the actual day? I always dressed up at school.
But he's saying if Halloween isn't on a weekday, they're not at school, so they're not dressing up.
So the poster's mad they have to dress up at home?
He thinks one of the fun things about Halloween is you get to go to school in a costume.
Oh, okay.
I've got some news for him.
Not everyone goes to school?
You could send your kid in a costume any day of the year. They could be a monkey any day of the year.
A monkey. I mean, I kind of get it, but I feel like this happened when I was a child and we just dressed up on the Friday or something. Like teachers would just say, everybody dress up
it's
on
fine,
Friday.
but this person's being precious. It's all too spread out, blah, blah, blah.
See, as a teenager, I would prefer Halloween to be on a weekend. Because then the parties made sense and you didn't feel weird dressing up.
This is so... You can have your party whenever you want to. You could dress up whenever you want to.
I remember as a university student, Halloween was smack in the middle of the week. And the next day, November 1st, was a midterm, a psychology midterm. And the whole class was so mad at the prof and begged him to change the date. Because we're all going to go out and get wasted on Tuesday. And you're making us have a midterm the next day. It was at like 9 a.m. too. I remember the whole class just like getting up and like trying to ask if we could change the date.
How was your grade that year?
Not good. I actually redid that class years later.
Actually, jeez.
Actually, it was a first year psych.
I don't remember, but people didn't like dress up or anything at university, right?
A little bit.
If you went
but, like,
to a
not
lecture
really.
on Halloween in undergrad, were
It
people
wouldn't
dressed
be weird.
up?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It wouldn't be weird. Like, it would be like whatever. A lot of people were just getting, some people were like drinking earlier, at least from my memory.
We had very different university experiences.
Okay, that wasn't Ben's experience.
I was just
but,
sleeping through class.
yeah, no.
If you sent your kid in a Halloween costume in like February, you think the teacher's saying anything about it?
Yes, probably.
Really?
Because it's not Halloween in February.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I guess it depends on the costume, I suppose.
Who's that teacher to tell me I can't dress my kid up as Jar Jar Binks on
Okay.
on a Wednesday in February?
Oh my God.
Right? Is that against dress code?
I mean, if the
As
child...
as long as it's not sexy Jar Jar Binks.
Okay, well, why would it be that? It's a child, Ben. Oh my God. Okay.
As long as it's age appropriate.
Yeah, and if the child wants to dress up like a... What is Jar Jar Binks? Like an
What
animal?
what do you think Jar Jar Binks is?
Like a monkey.
Sounds like a monkey?
Like Chewbacca.
It's from Star Wars.
Yeah, I know,
Do you know
but
that?
I don't know where or why or who.
Kind of looks like a duck.
A duck?
Yeah, he goes quack, 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 quack.
Oh. Was
Yeah.
not picturing that one.
He was in the first one that came out. It actually turned out he was the bad guy the whole time. Like you thought he
Like
was
Darth Vader?
Yeah, you thought he was just like the charming
Charming duck.
he was just kind of like the sidekick to like the main character, like the little
Like
kid in that
DuckTales?
movie. Yeah, but it turns out it was actually like Darth Vader projecting just like a friendly image to like befriend the child and trick them.
So it was the same person.
Yeah,
Why would he pretend to be a duck? Just
Well,
to dupe the child?
to trick the child into loving him, falling in love with him. Then the child finds out he was.
Why
like
would the
monster.
child fall in love
Well,
with him?
I just mean like
what?
not in a romantic
Ben!
way.
Actually, I don't believe you.
Jar Jar had actually a love interest in that movie too.
I don't believe anything
With
you're saying.
Natalie Portman's character, there's a weird scene where Natalie Portman is like making out with this duck.
No, there's not.
What do you mean?
I feel like I would have heard about that.
Who would have told you about that?
I don't know. Social media. Pop culture. All I know is I am your father.
Who's my father?
Darth Vader? Question mark? And Solo. X.
You don't think Natalie Portman made
You're
out with a
gonna make
duck?
my eyes burn because they're already broken out.
No.
Ben.
You want to move on or you want to talk about Star Wars?
Okay, just move on before I embarrass myself.
All right. Giving out full-size candy bars on Halloween is too much. I just finished trick-or-treating with my kids, and I'm shaking my head at how many full-sized and even king-sized candies they received.
This boomer is shaking his head.
I remember when I was a kid, there was one house in my neighborhood that gave out the larger sizes, and yeah, they gained some notoriety among the kids.
It's elitist.
Maybe you remember that one house in your neighborhood. Tonight, it might have been 1 out of every 6 houses. On top of being very extra, it's impractical. I know my kids are happy to get them, but I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. What are they going to do with a king-size Butterfinger? Just going to be partially eaten and thrown in the garbage.
Is it?
Give me the house that lets kids grab a handful of fun sizes. That's the cool house.
So stupid.
There was this house for me growing up.
Just one?
Yes. It was because it was not just for giving out big bars. They also like really
They
went
really
all
tried.
out on the decorations, smoke machine.
Oh, yeah.
Someone sort of like
Sounds.
hiding as a scarecrow
Oh,
on the
I remember
porch,
that.
but it turned out it was a real person that would like grab people.
I remember that.
That's what made it the special house, not the king size candy bars.
Someone definitely lied down at the bottom of their driveway, dressed like a mummy.
Yeah.
And you would have to walk over them, and then they would just move their
Just grab
legs.
you.
Fucking, it was
Now
so
you would
scary.
get sued for doing
Now
that.
I would like call
Don't you
my
think? I
lawyer.
don't think that would happen
You can't
anymore.
grab the child. Like, no.
Yeah, when we were kids trick or treating, people used to grab you. Strangers used to
I
grab you.
fell to the floor screaming. Okay. I do remember houses doing the big bar chocolate thing, and it was kind of like a status brag flex activity from my childhood recollection.
I agree. It is a little obnoxious in a way.
I remember having not necessarily friends, but like people in my grade who lived in the same neighborhood. They would talk about at school how they got to pick out what chocolate bars their family's giving out, and we'd be like, it'd be like full size this. We're only gonna give out the best caramels, and we spent so much money on them. And then like you go to their house, and it's the mom being so proud of giving out these giant chocolate bars, but then like the kid is also using that as a brag and flex during recess.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I just got like the value pack.
So wait, so do we agree with this opinion then that giving out full-size candy bars is kind of gauche?
I mean, it depends who you are. Like, if you are just the childhood trick-or-treater, you want to go and get those full-size candy bars.
Well,
so,
of
like,
course, but we're not
I'm not
talking
mad.
about-
I will take it. Thank you for
Yeah.
spending your money and giving it to me for free.
My issue with this person is they're kind of like policing, like only 1 out of 50 houses should do this. Like, okay, how do you regulate how many houses are
then you
doing
know-
the thing?
Then you know what a rich neighborhood is. If it's like
But-
5 out of 10 houses or every other house, then it's a rich neighborhood.
Or do the rich people give away their chocolate? Or they only got rich by hoarding all of their chocolate to themselves?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know if it's like, maybe it's like new money rich. Like they're not that rich, but they just want to like show off. It's like wearing Gucci, you know what I mean? So like they want to give out those big chocolate bars to be like, we're a fancy
We
house
have
here.
money. Meantime, they're inside just eating beans out of a can.
Like whatever it takes to flex. Make a TikTok
That
about
flex culture, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think I agree. I will say I agree with this unpopular opinion that it's more cool to like let kids grab multiple little bars
I don't
than
know.
one big bar.
I don't know that I would evaluate any of this as what is cool, but I think it's more practical and makes more sense given the event and the
none-
number of people coming up to your steps that the assorted mini bars just makes more
What
sense.
you're looking
yeah.
at is like like efficiency of like
efficiency and
the
effectiveness.
fulfillment of candy delivery to children.
And then also for the individual, when they take their bag home, it's kind of more exciting to have like a bunch of little things. It's like a test taste of a bunch of
That's
things
true.
rather than like large things.
I think I
Efficiency
agree
and
with that.
effectiveness for Halloween.
You're such a robot. It's more wasteful, all those little wrappers. You know what? I don't really see king-size chocolate bars anymore.
Well, this is Canada.
Oh, yeah? What do you think? No, but I mean, there was a time where like
Go to the States, Ben.
you would go into a store and you'd see king-size bars, and there was almost like this bit of a
I think they took them away from
swinging
Canada.
dick contest, like who could have the biggest chocolate bar kind of thing, you know?
No, I think it just didn't really sell well here. Kind of like Target never worked out.
Or is it like a what's a shrinkflation? Companies like even like a normal
Maybe.
chocolate bar has just reduced in size over time, and they just charge you just as much for it.
That could also be a reason. But I also just think like that effort of entry into the marketplace with the king size stuff, including like McDonald's supersize, I don't think it lasted here very long. Like I distinctly remember that period, like the kind of Americanization of food to some extent. And then it kind of just went away. But like we go to the States and we go to a convenience store and there's king size, jumbo size of everything that I
Wait,
remember once seeing in
you think
Canada
this
as
is
a kid.
unique to Canada? That
I mean,
we don't
I
have?
don't know about the rest of the world, but I just like in my own observation, I feel like that trend did enter the Canadian market like 15-ish years ago, and then it just went away.
I will say, in general, serving sizes in the U.S. are much more than I typically get, like going out to a restaurant in
Yeah.
Canada. I think a lot of people notice that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I hadn't really thought about the chocolate bar thing. Or even for a while, you're at like McDonald's. Like, I remember there was a point where it was just like, oh my God, you can now get a quadruple cheeseburger with like 4 patties. And almost felt like there was a time where it was just like a marketing tactic was just to be like, here's an even bigger version of that thing.
Supersize me.
You don't really see that being used in marketing anymore.
Did not work.
Well, Christine, I know we're talking about unpopular opinions. But you want to know a popular opinion?
Go on.
Shopify is the best, easy to use all-in-one commerce platform that lets people start, grow, and manage their own business.
I would agree.
That's a popular opinion. Everyone thinks it.
Everyone agrees.
Everyone can't be wrong.
Yeah.
We've used Shopify since we launched Christine's nail polish business back in 2019, and Shopify's user-friendly interface makes it really easy for us to power our business. From basic things like updating the website with new listings, pictures, and descriptions, to tracking customer orders and seeing where in the world you're shopping from. Regardless of your technical ability, it's easy to use and has intuitive analytics and tools. It's super easy to get useful to get real-time analytics on sales so we can see how people are responding to new releases and monitor stock in real time. And Shopify really empowers our business at both a functional level, but also at helping us understand our customers. One of our favorite analytics Shopify provides us with is the returning customer rate, because we really value our dedicated repeat customers, and it's really important for us to interpret how those people are responding to new releases. So you could join Holo Taco and millions of other businesses or merchants and grow your business with Shopify, and use the link shopify.com/simplynailogical to start your free trial today. Thank you again to Shopify for sponsoring this stream.
Yay. That's shopify.com/simplynailogical.
What if I start a new business?
What?
Where I sell creme brulee to children. I didn't know what I was going to say when I started that sentence. I just wanted to let you know
I can tell. I can tell. You know, I would like to see your business plan, sir.
Would you?
Yeah. What kind of investments are you going to make? What's your strategy?
So I just need a small loan of $3 million, and I think I could.
Just a small one.
Actually, you know what? I could start that really. I think I could do that.
No.
I don't like all this doubt coming from you. I think I could make this a successful business with Shopify.
That is one pitch. that is a pitch, Ben.
I'm going to go on Dragon's Den.
Ben is a Ben entrepreneur. That didn't work. Ben-trepreneur.
What?
Never mind.
Kids shouldn't watch scary movies and shows.
Cancel the kids.
By kids, I mean anyone 12 and under. Personally, I think 13 is probably still too young for a lot of content, but concede that there's some leeway for maturity and parental discretion. I've seen friends' kids and have had daycare students who have watched things like The Walking Dead and American Horror Story. America. I see people in Facebook groups talk about their kids watching Annabelle or crocheting horror character what?
I don't know what that is.
Amigurumi. I saw a post where a 7-year-old went viral for dressing up as her favorite horror characters. In my opinion, a 7-year-old shouldn't have favorite horror characters. Children's brains aren't wired to deal with that kind of content. Young children aren't able to distinguish reality from fiction until they're older. Additionally, I believe that viewing violence at early ages, especially at the frequency with which our society is exposed to them, ultimately desensitizes us as people. Is that sort of like a tired idea that like kids playing violent video games will make them violent?
That is a tired idea and has generally been disproven in research.
Although, to be fair to this
recollection of
person,
psych
I don't think
studies.
they're saying it makes you more violent, just desensitizes you to violence,
Yeah,
which
not
actually
the
seems
same
like a
thing.
much more reasonable claim.
Yeah.
And I actually think I'd be inclined to think that's likely true.
I'd be inclined to do a meta-analysis of more current research on that, because I actually think results might have changed. Like, remember when we learned this like 10 years ago in psych class?
I don't.
Really? I remember reading studies about do violent video games cause
Oh, sure.
violence?
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was like mostly debunked. Like the answer is no. It's like socialization and a whole bunch of other factors that are, incite someone to be violent, and also their social conditions and surroundings. But it is interesting though if someone doing the same studies today, I think like we do live in a different society with different exposures to different things and exposure at a different rate than we did 10 years ago.
Kids are probably exposed to way more fucked up shit
And now we
than
have
they were.
algorithms that behave way more aggressively than they did 15 years ago. So like maybe 15 years ago, it's like, oh, you watched one movie, will it change you as a person? But now it's like you see something on TikTok and then you're just getting that all the time. And if you spend 6 hours on TikTok, that's a different exposure rate.
Are kids consuming like horror content though on these social media apps?
I don't know. I'm just speaking more generally about, I guess, how content can
Like this
change what you
person's still
think.
talking about like popular media and whether or not parents should just like let their kids watch zombie movies or scary films.
I mean, like movie theaters, I don't know what it is today. But when I was a kid, you literally could not bring a child into an R-rated movie. It didn't matter if the parent was there, right?
I think so.
Yeah, there was movies that was like, no, like you cannot bring I don't know if the age was 16 or 12. I don't remember.
Yeah, but people aren't even going to.
I know,
I'm paying
right?
for the movie on Apple TV.
Yeah, so there was more enforcement, I guess, back then, because if you went to movies, like you literally could not bring a child.
Well, there's parental controls at home. There's not like
but
9-year-olds
but that's
out
up to
there
the
with.
parent to enforce, not
Yes.
the system of movie theaters or whatever, who's like literally preventing children from entering. So yeah, it's always up to the parents, but
Yeah, and we're not parents. No interest
don't
in
know.
having a human
I
child.
would never like make a government rule like this because I feel like that's not gonna really work
leave
or
it
be
to
effective.
the parents. So
Yeah.
you think there should just be no rating system at all?
No, I think rating systems are helpful to help people at a glance understand like generally what it is. But I also think rating systems aren't perfect either. And different people are going to have different things that upset them or discomfort them. So honestly, doing the research beforehand about what is in this movie, I know it's really hard if you hate spoilers. But if you feel like there's sensitivities for you or your kid, you kind of have to do that research to make sure it's going to be appropriate. Or don't, and then, have the consequences of, like, maybe there was something that, like, you didn't really like how that landed. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I unintentionally, or I don't know what that means. I watched some scary movies when I'm very young, and maybe my parents were just a little okay with that, or they just didn't notice I somehow ended up with, like, a very scary movie at a young age. I don't think it fucked me up too much. But at the same time, it would be pretty bizarre if you're, like, routinely letting your, like, 8-year-old watch like movies of people just being stabbed to death. That's a pretty unhinged thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, and like, again, I can't really speak to this as a parent, but if I think about it in that way, I'd probably be a bit uncomfortable with repeatedly being like, yeah, watch this murder to a child. But that's me. Like, I'd be a bit worried about what it's making them think, and do they have the resources to understand what's happening and what's bad about it and what's upsetting or how to deal with it, right? So, and I don't know, if I'm not able to provide that or unpack that in a proper way, then I would feel like it's a bit irresponsible, but that's just how I would approach it.
I'd much rather my kids are watching Star Wars so they could see Natalie Portman make out with a duck than to see some guy just like, zombies eating your brain,
Okay.
There's another movie
one like this?
Horror
Okay.
movie trailers shouldn't be allowed on television. I'm trying to watch a football game. I don't want to hear the body and the blood from a possessed 8-year-old girl 15 times during the commercial. I'm here for Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift content.
Bad blood.
If I had young children, I definitely wouldn't want them seeing or hearing this. And they should just be removed altogether from TV, put them online before other horror movies in theaters. This happened to us, Christine. I was a little worried about you.
did.
We went
I
to see Oppenheimer in theaters.
Not a horror.
Not a horror movie. Well,
A drama.
It's
It's mature subject matter.
it's a horrifying thing.
Sorry, yes.
That happened.
Horrifying thing, but it's not a horror jump
Horror
scare.
movie.
Yeah.
And right before, they played a trailer for the new Exorcist movie,
Yeah.
which I've heard is really not good. But yeah, it's like that trailer was pretty graphic. Possessed little girl stuff. And it's like, I'm here to watch a World War II period piece about scientists inventing a bomb.
It seems to me like they're not necessarily optimizing what trailers they show people based on the movie. Because if you think about it, like how you're on Google and you get served a Google ad, it's normally based on your behaviors or maybe even what's related to what you've been looking at on the internet. So when you go into a movie theater with a bunch of people, obviously they can't personalize the trailers to you, but they should at least, just to optimize their payment, because they have to pay for that play, right? Make sure that it kind of fits the same theme as what people chose to actually go see. So if you chose to go see Oppenheimer, what other trailers that are kind of like a drama, history, docu something that like maybe is interesting to someone who's watching Oppenheimer? Maybe The Exorcist was like, just give it to everyone.
Yeah.
We'll pay for everyone.
We've got an ad budget.
We don't care about the ROI here. We just want to pay for everyone and scare everyone who's seeing Barbie.
But I agree. There's a huge difference between I'm signing up to watch something. Like if I know I'm going to see a horror movie, I've signed up for this exchange of seeing some fucked up shit on the
committed.
screen. I think I kind of agree with this guy. If I'm trying to watch football, I don't want to see possessed little demon girls yelling at me in between plays.
So I don't like horror movies, and I will never watch The Exorcist, but I'm also not bothered by the trailer of The Exorcist.
I'm saying this as someone
personally.
who does like horror movies. I still find it kind of jarring and annoying. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you can accept a horror movie, like you can take it in and still be okay. I do not want a horror movie.
You don't want that?
So you'd think asking someone like me, like, is it really a problem if I see the trailer for a horror movie before the movie I actually sign up? I understand if some people say they absolutely do not want it, but as someone who doesn't like horror movies, like a trailer doesn't do anything for me. Like I'm not actually scared.
I'm
by
not
watching
saying
a
this
trailer.
should be like outlawed, but I agree it's annoying.
It's annoying, but not illegal. Okay, so we won't make a law.
Why don't we just not have commercials at all?
Well, I mean, interesting. So you just have to pay way more for the movie.
Way more?
Yeah, because
I'm already
the
paying
movie
for the
theater
movie.
needs to. Yeah, but the movie theater needs to make, or I don't know if they need to make. I don't fucking know. but like presumably they make a lot of their revenue from playing ads.
I think they make a lot of money from selling popcorn.
That too, sure. But if they all of a sudden didn't have ad revenue coming
sell more
in,
popcorn, and then you don't have to show me.
What if no one's buying
I will buy
popcorn?
twice as much popcorn if you don't show me a commercial.
but will everyone? Probably not.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
Premium experience. Isn't this like the home streaming service is basically this?
No commercials.
Hey, I'm willing to just pay you for your content. Don't give me commercials.
Yeah. And there's a lot of streaming services, like even YouTube, right? That you can pay and not get commercials.
You can pay for streaming services. Breaking news on SimplyPodLogical.
Okay, next one.
People who put out the whole bowl of candy for Halloween shouldn't be upset when someone eventually takes the whole thing.
Oh, is this like people who don't want to give it out because they're not home?
They just
but put it
leave on the
outside?
doorstep. Here's a bunch of candy. So the people taking the candy are shitty. But the people putting out the candy really only have themselves to blame, in my opinion. I understand there may be reasons why you can't personally hand it out, but I think it's naive to think people will only take one bar or just a handful. Maybe I'm just cynical.
It depends. Do you live in Scandinavian countries? Then this will never happen.
I feel like there's a contradiction here, though. I think the people who do this and maybe don't want to hand out candy but still want to leave something for children, I don't think they're naive to the possibility that some jerk kid is going to come along and take all of it. I guess they've just still decided they're going to take that risk. They're unable to, whatever. And you just hope people aren't bad. This feels pretty victim blamey to me, you know? That's my read on it. Bad opinion.
Yeah. I think, like, if I did this, if we wanted to give out candy without giving out candy, I would, from the outset, make sure that I'm, like, not putting out a nice bowl that I cared about, honestly, just for that reason. Just because it's a risk.
Wait, you think they're stealing the bowl?
Maybe.
Sorry, talking. Is that what you think is happening?
Oh, I thought they just, like, grabbed the whole bowl and ran.
Well, usually they would just
Okay,
dump
but, like-
all the candy out of the
Okay,
bowl.
but you know,
I'm not leaving
Ben,
your grandmother's fine
think
china
about
bowl
it,
on the
okay?
porch.
Like, it's garbage day, okay? People put stuff they don't want at the end of the driveway. If you put a candy in the bowl at the end of the driveway, someone might just
take the bowl.
Like,
Okay, that's not
just
as crazy as what I
it's
first
not
thought.
crazy. So, like, if I'm doing that, I know that I'm like, it's a possibility. So if it happens, you know, it's whatever. I need to make sure that I don't put something that I'd be like really distraught about. But that's me, just in a more preventative, kind of framing.
Christmas should include handing out candy, like Halloween. We could all enjoy our
Oh.
favorite houses up close instead of the usual drive-by. Everyone could show off their beautiful decor, the lights, the Christmas music, playing through the streets, hot chocolate stands for the neighborhood. All of your favorite Christmas candies.
He's an author.
For many, the cold might make it difficult, but there's still a good chunk that would bear it if possible.
Ooh.
There's obviously other options for this type of thing, like the holiday markets most towns have now. This would be so cool.
Wow, we got an author on Reddit.
Christmas should also include handing out candy.
I mean,
so
it
kids
does.
should go door to door.
Oh, I mean, my experience of Christmas as a kid was usually tied to getting like chocolates, whether it's like those shitty Santa wrappers
The
or
gold
like Lindor
coins.
chocolates or advent calendars that are
Advent
chocolates.
calendars.
Yeah, so I did get candy, but it was usually from people I knew rather than strangers, like on Halloween. However, imagine it's Christmas Day and you knock on your neighbor's doors
Yeah.
and you're like, "Where's my present?"
Yeah.
Merry
forget the
Christmas!
candy.
Where's my present?
Let's go door to door for gifts.
Yeah, and you go to like 50 houses just seeing what anyone has. Just imagine the reaction. Like a bunch of family members are over having brunch and sausage or whatever.
Sausage.
And then they open the door and they're like, "Who the fuck are you? There's a child on my doorstep."
We're trying
asking
to
me-"
have the Christmas sausage. Get out of here, child.
Yeah, you're like, "I don't know you. You're not my family." Yeah, why is Halloween all about strangers? And Christmas is all about family. What the heck?
Well, let's keep it that way.
Why? What if I think
Well,
they
this is
should
the beauty
swap?
of the differences of what do you want to make
I think they
every
should
holiday
swap.
the same?
Just for fun, just 1 year.
1 year.
Have Christmas be about strangers, and you just like knock on random people's doors.
And
and expect
Halloween
you
is what everyone
about your family.
gets
Gets
together to
together and
eat
eats junk
mini-sized
food.
chocolate bars.
Yeah, and scares each other.
Boo.
Let's just try it out. Just A/B testing we could do.
For me, I feel way more invested in the Christmas tradition of like making Christmas cookies and good food and that experience. I would take that over trick-or-treating any
But
day.
you should give out those Christmas cookies and good food to strangers.
You could do that with your neighbors. People do this. People who talk to their neighbors
Yeah, but they
might be
don't-
like, I bake these cookies, I bake these cookies, let's do a cookie exchange.
Yeah, and those really nice neighbors would also think it's weird if a random neighbor knocked on their door and said, "Merry Christmas," and opened a bucket.
Yeah, but then you just give them the cookie with the razor blade in it.
Oh my god. Did not know where that was gonna go.
Give them the poison apple.
Okay.
You can give candy to your neighbors if you want for Christmas. You could just decide to do that in your neighborhood.
I think the one reason why I don't like this is because at least where we live, it's always colder and there's snow during Christmas. So having to go out Christmas treating,
Okay.
merry treating, or whatever you want to call it, in the snow in the middle of winter would not be good.
People leave the house. What are you saying? We can't leave the house in winter?
Yeah, but going door to door for like 3 hours on Christmas Day, if it's
that doesn't
snowing,
sound
like
fun.
that's not fun. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah. At least where we live, where it's snowing. Sometimes it has snowed on Halloween. Where we
Yeah,
live.
that's not. And then you just see kids wearing winter
Snowsuits,
coats
yeah,
over
under their
co-
costume, and then it doesn't fit, and then all of a sudden, like the look is just ruined. I know it happened to me many times. I'm like, I don't want to wear a winter coat. Ruins my princess look.
I'm a cat. I'm a cat.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more. Mm-hmm. We as adults failed children on Halloween.
Okay.
Halloween is the one holiday kids can just roam around and have fun pillaging the lands of candy. We let the unfounded paranoia ruin the day for so many by turning it into a little outing in a parking lot
What?
or a short dress-up moment at school.
Kids can't trick or treat anymore?
For a lot of us growing up, it was that opportunity to just roam around by ourselves with our friends and just have fun collecting our body weight in candy well dressed up. Now many of us don't get candy, encourage the exploration for that day, or treat it as a negative thing.
Is this a child who
overall.
wrote this? Because they said many of us don't get candy.
This person just sounds bitter.
Wait, what happened? What happened to
What happened
Halloween?
to you?
You didn't like start with the statement. I need the opening statement.
I think what I think is going on here is this person, people used to be a little less helicopter parents.
Like,
People
overprotective?
used to be like, hey, little Billy, go outside,
Whatever, scram.
come home when the sun is down.
Go play with your friends. Bye.
Yeah. That used to be a way more common style of parenting. And I think by extension for Halloween used to be a little bit more subversive. Let your kids go around. Some of them are going to get into trouble, toilet papering houses or egging houses or doing weird shit. And yeah, maybe now it's not that as much.
I guess I don't know that. So parents, comment down below, has the Halloween experience changed? Like, are people not letting their kids out to trick or treat?
Like, even if you accept it's changed, is it a bad thing?
I mean,
I have thoughts more generally about parents being a little too overbearing on their kids now. And I feel like we were on like a weird sort of generational divide of that. Like, I still remember I would often after school just hang out with friends for hours and only end up home.
Like at 9 or something.
Dinner or later. Yeah. That was a common thing for me still. I get the sense like really depending where you are or how much of your life you're living on the internet as opposed to with friends. I think a lot of people have very different experiences even in adolescence. And I'm not sure that's a great thing.
Well, it's just different because, like, we didn't really... Well, as a teenager, I remember going home to MSN and talking to people. But there was also a lot of, like, oh, I'm going to the mall for 3 hours after school. Or I'm going to dance class for whatever after school and seeing people I knew. So, yeah, there was a lot more going out, maybe, than there is today on average. But that is also by choice of the child, presumably.
I just think... I don't know. I'm out of touch with...
with the kids.
With the kids these days. But yeah, I remember in my experience, there were some kids who had parents who were way more protective. And I always felt like they were getting a worse experience of childhood, that it was actually to their detriment in some ways.
Yeah.
Because they got to a point where if you're too overprotective of your kids, I actually think they just don't learn to be independent or resilient in some ways. Now, there's some like, there's maybe going too far in the other direction, just like sort of neglecting your kids or something. But like, I feel like there is sort of a balance there that feels like it has, my perception has shifted to people being more cautious about letting their kids do stuff alone.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, like, I've definitely seen peers of mine who their parents were way too overprotective, in my opinion. Like, not letting them have a cell phone until they were like 18 years old. And it was like, so at that time, like a lot of people in high school, once I was 13 or 14, got it almost as a safety measure. You couldn't even fucking go on the internet anyways. Like, it wasn't really the tool it is today.
Yeah.
And still some parents were just really just hard on their kids to the point that the kid ended up really resenting them and resorted to other ways to do whatever it was that they wanted anyways, like use their friend's phone or just get into bad shit on purpose now. So, and then your kids kind of just want to act out. So I didn't think it's even the most effective strategy if you're looking at it from that perspective. Like, I don't think it really helps the kids. And then from the independence perspective, when I went away to university, there was definitely some people who were still being very instructed by their parents from afar, like in residence, which is like, you're supposed to do your own laundry, you're supposed to figure out where your own classes are. Yeah. But I remember there was one person whose parents like they came for the like setting up,
like
as did mine, you know, like they moved me in.
Yeah.
But then one person I knew's parents stayed for like 2 weeks, like they rented a place nearby.
Oh, I thought you meant they stayed in the dorm.
No, well, you can't. There's no room to stay. But like
okay.
They would just come with her to like food. Like, this is after the move-in period, and it's like now Frost Week.
That's a tough look.
And it was like, and I don't know if I didn't really know this person well, but I don't know if they wanted it or if it was like they don't have a choice. Their parents are just gonna be here, and it was like a lot. And I felt bad for the person. Like, just let them fucking
and truthfully,
learn.
the tough thing. The transition should have happened before that, because if you send your kid off to university and they don't have any independence or life school skills, you've already sort of messed up. Because I kind of get it where you're like, oh, now I have to be there to help them out. It's like, well, no, like,
But like that's
you
what,
needed to send them off into the
but
world
that's not
with
so
some
not true
skills.
because they're there with a bunch of people who are also figuring it out for the first time. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was 17. I'm like, where's the bookstore? Like, it's fine,
right, that's
but
a
you meet
time.
other people like
That is
yourself.
a difficult time of figuring things out. You're right.
But they also have, like, most residences will have like a res fellow, like someone on the floor who's more senior, who's just there to, I don't know, tell you where the library is or something, or if you need help. Like, I'm not saying that help is always available, but just like usually there's at least someone somewhere on campus that you could ask for general, like, what do I do? Where do I go?
But then I have to talk to someone.
Yeah, well, it was university. I don't know. It was like, yes, you're living with other people.
Sounds terrible.
Right. Okay.
All right. A couple more. There are no scary horror movies.
What?
I don't mean to come off some jaded edgelord, but I've never been scared of horror movies.
Okay.
I don't like gory movies. This person says a lot of things, but I like how they end it. Things like access to healthcare, debt, the check engine light, unemployment, crime. These are all way more terrifying than a guy with a knife. If you think I'm wrong, please recommend the scariest movie then.
Okay, like ha 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 ha, you know, like
This guy's saying, I don't want to watch your
Right.
Jason Voorhees Nightmare on Elm Street slasher movie. That's all goofy. I'm scared of not being able
Reality.
to pay my
yeah.
bills.
Yeah, we get it. Yes, reality is
So
terrifying.
this guy isn't wrong, but like that's why we like horror movies, right? Christine, isn't this why you like horror movies?
I don't like horror
Because
movies.
there's like to me a horror movie, I don't call something that's just like purely grounded in realism. I don't really think of that as a horror movie.
Psychological thriller,
Maybe. Yeah,
which
I
I
guess.
prefer personally.
Okay. I do not prefer. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
So for me, I love some scary movies, and yeah, I feel like there needs to be some element of. Doesn't necessarily have to be supernatural, but like something
That's not real.
something that's not grounded in realism for it. And to me, I don't want to watch a movie about like a couple experiencing a home invasion. Like I don't want to think about that. There's nothing fun about that. But like
Yeah, okay.
family getting in a haunted hotel, that to me is like fun and scary, but it can still be really scary and serious. Like I'm not saying it has
you
to be
know it's not
funny.
actually going to happen. I guess
Yes.
is like where you're coming from. So like you're okay
But
to be
doesn't
scared.
like a
but
little part of your brain is willing to accept that something extraordinary or supernatural?
But I thought
could
that's
happen.
why it's not the worst for you to consume that type of content, because you know that house on haunted hill or whatever situation like isn't actually going to happen. So you still have a little bit of comfort in that
Yes,
while you're
there's
still
comfort
scared.
in knowing this is like extraordinary, not a thing that happens. Whereas something about like people being like actually victimized in a real way is not something I really want to spend a bunch of time
Even if it's
consuming.
not a true story, like just say it's fiction, but it's somewhat realistic, like it's a stalker or something like something
I
that's
don't want to.
it's not supernatural.
I
Yeah.
have trouble enjoying those kinds of movies.
Yeah, enjoying is an interesting word. I think learning or gaining information about perspective
That is such a you answer.
is one reason why some people like psychological thrillers. Like, I actually think it's interesting to learn about psychology through them, because they often present very specific types of characters and with certain traits about how people think or manipulate others and things that people do that is reminiscent of real human behavior. So I actually find that some movies like that can do a good job at depicting that, and it's more like you're learning about it as opposed to like, oh, I enjoyed this in a twisted way that people maybe think of when they think, oh, why did you like that movie? Like, you can like something even if it's negative from a storytelling perspective.
Yeah, and maybe enjoy is not the right word. Sometimes I wonder, like, do people enjoy horror movies because I feel like I saw this quote somewhere where it's like people actually like the feeling of getting out of the theater and realizing like they don't actually live in that world.
I thought they just like the thrill of it during it too, kind of like going on a roller coaster. Some people like that thrill-seeking behavior.
I really don't like roller coasters though,
Oh,
and I like scary movies.
interesting. Someone
So
should do a
so what does
study
that say?
on like thrill-seeking behavior and what types of thrills. Do you like shoplifting? This is another question on the survey.
This is, I do not like shoplifting.
Do you like driving really fast?
People got mad at me for saying I don't like shoplifting.
Okay, I was just going through the questions.
This was an unpopular opinion. I said
Right.
I don't like when people shoplift, and people got mad at me.
I don't think that was the only thing you said, to be fair, but yes, understood. Okay.
Whew, yeah, shoplifting, great. It's so good when people shoplift.
Stop. Okay. Last one.
Last one. If you genuinely believe you witnessed paranormal activity, I will doubt your mental health.
Great.
I just saw a video of a family catching something on camera that, quote, hasn't been debunked since 2001. The thing you see could easily be explained by 1,000 other things. Look, if you want to believe in the afterlife, I really understand. I wish I could because it's a beautiful thought, but especially the concept of ghost spirits makes no sense at all for many obvious reasons. I genuinely believe you've witnessed paranormal activity, but you didn't. Either you were too young or not bright enough to understand what was going on. It was a dream or your mind just played tricks on you. Sometimes you see what you want to see, but being unable to understand what it really could be just feels like you don't have the mental capacity to do so. All right, we can relax a little.
This will definitely upset people who read this. That's probably why I got upvoted.
Oh, as unpopular. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think we need to label people who believe in ghosts and spirits mentally ill, but I do think it's kind of I remember I used to be like more interested in like aliens and the possibility aliens exist, and I would consume content of people who like claim they saw aliens, and they always seemed like pretty people with not a lot going on. And yeah, it was kind of depressing, to be honest. And yeah, I think you probably see that across the board, that a lot of people who are really invested in this maybe don't necessarily have... I don't really know what I'm trying to say here.
It doesn't, yeah, I understand. But I think one of the traits I see is like a lack of credibility, maybe. It's kind of that feeling you maybe get when you're watching a documentary about someone who's really, really passionate about a very specific thing and insists it exists, and maybe there's a lack of evidence and otherwise a lack of credibility or a pattern or other people backing it up. I think that's maybe what it is, that you're like, I don't see this as credible. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it comes from like these people are just, you can really tell when someone wants something to be true. And you can like see, like or people have like some sort of bias or interest in something being true. Like you can find TV shows about ghost hunters, right? And they'll be like, did you see that? And it's like a speck of dust going across the screen.
It's a ghost orb.
It's a ghost. And it's like they're so eager
It's
to
an orb.
confirm their bias, right?
We've seen orbs in Phasmophobia.
We have seen orbs in video games. I saw a ghost in a video game.
Same. In a video game.
It killed me.
It killed me more. Yay. I win.
You win.
I lose.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
Can't say I have in real life. No. I believe that people who believe in ghosts believe they saw a ghost.
So does this person.
Yeah. I don't personally believe that in my reality, from my
In your
perspective,
reality.
that it is something that exists to me. But like, I'm not going to tell someone that they're like stupid if they are so convinced in and of themselves. A lot of people convince themselves of a lot of things. And it's not just about ghosts or whatever. Like, we all tell ourselves different things. And it can range from something as simple to like self-talk, like positive, or sometimes even negative. We just tell ourselves things that we end up internalizing more and believing it. And that changes our own perspectives. And that's why people have different belief systems, period. So like, I believe that it makes sense that other people believe different things than I do because of our own experiences or how we see it or how we rationalize it or how we talk through it in our own minds and come to our own conclusions. Now,
Yeah, I think it's healthier to have the attitude of having your mind open to like how much we don't understand about things than people who are absolutely certain of anything, whether they're advocating or promoting the idea they're sure these things exist, or on the opposite side, the sort of obnoxious attitude of people saying everyone who thinks anything like this is stupid.
And it's not a coincidence that some of these topics, like believing in ghosts, is something that isn't easily proven or disproven. Like it's not as science. Like you could say the pH level of water is this, where like no one can argue that. You know what I mean? So it's not a coincidence that when there's a topic that can't really have that exact conclusion that universally people can agree
That's what
upon,
makes it
then
fun.
that's what's going to happen.
That's what makes it fun.
It
but
is,
then, so I
right?
find it
Yeah.
equally obnoxious the people who don't want to let people have fun as the people who are like selling the idea that ghosts are real. Watch my TV show of me hunting ghosts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just entertainment, though. I feel like a lot of people watch that for the entertainment, not because they actually like are buying into this ghost fundraiser or something that they need to fundraise to get an EMF or a DOTS machine. Like, I don't know. Maybe they are.
Just
I don't
fun.
know.
I feel like people used to have more fun with
Just
these
have fun.
like conspiracy theories, aliens, ghosts. We used to have fun about this.
People are just
Now everyone's just so serious about it. It's like my grandmother. I don't talk to my grandmother anymore because she believes in like crazy conspiracy. I feel like conspiracies used to be more fun.
Yeah, it did kind of shift, and then people get very passionate one way or the other on the belief system, and it does create more of a divide. Whereas I think honestly just the internet has done this to us. There's just way more exposure to way more things, and everyone has way more opportunity to say things about it.
Maybe we should say less. Maybe we should end the podcast.
Oh my god.
I just mean today.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Or did I?
Shut up. Okay. Touche, Ben. I hope everyone has a happy, safe Halloween. And if you don't go trick-or-treating this year, you can do it on Christmas. Don't worry. There's another chance this year.
Or you could just go to the store and buy a chocolate bar.
Of king size. Or on November 1st. It's discounted, baby. All right. Thank you to Shopify for sponsoring this stream.
Thank you, Shopify.
Hope everyone has a happy and spooky Taco Tuesday.
Don't do that.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see y'all later. Bye.